Hi, Chef Ryan Phillips here. There's a lot of snow coming down this time of year in Korea, especially in the mountains of Gangwon-do, famous for its ski resorts, but also famous for this incredible ingredient that freezes and thaws through the winter winds. That frozen fish is often found in the freezers of many households around Korea to be taken out any day of the week and made into a special heartwarming soup. That is Hwangtaetang. The star of today's recipe is this right here. This is hwangtae, and it's so special and really surprised me when I came to Korea. This has no salt, it's just dried pollock. And the way they do that is by hanging it in these mountain villages of Gangwon-do for 3 whole months. And every night it freezes, and every day it kind of thaws out a little bit and goes back and forth that way to get this perfect, dried, kind of chewy texture that we can peel off and preserve and make for a soup anytime. All right, so hwangtae, we've got to pull it off of this if you get it in this whole form. And it's not too difficult here. Just kind of tear off little pieces of this. We only need about 40 grams to do about 1.5 or 2 portions. And you'll get these beautiful strips. And we'll just break these into smaller pieces. They kind of pull apart, and it's almost fluffy. I should mention there's no bones in here. It's all just flesh. Just a really quick rinse on this. Squeeze out some of that excess moisture. Now let's get just a little bit of chamgiram or toasted sesame oil. We're gonna go with just 1 or 2 teaspoons and massage this into it. There we go. And next we're gonna heat up a pot here and get about 400 milliliters of water to start. And our hwangtae with that toasted sesame oil is gonna go right in there. And we're gonna let that come up to a boil. This is not the way everybody does it. I would say it's split about 50-50 down the middle across Korea. A lot of folks will say that you wanna put toasted sesame oil on the dried pollock, no rinsing, and then stir fry that dried before you add any water. Now, I've tried it both ways, and I really think this one's better, but I'm not saying the other folks are wrong. I'm saying maybe they just have a different quality of the hwangtae. It maybe if your hwangtae's been in the freezer, if it's not as fresh as what I have here, maybe toasting it first helps bring out some different flavors. So not wrong, just different. This has just come up to a boil, so I'm gonna reduce it down to a simmer and let that go for about 5 minutes before we do anything else. It's been 5 minutes. I'm gonna turn the heat back up because I wanna put in 50 milliliters of this rice wine. Now, not everybody's gonna recommend that you use some rice wine here. I really like the way that it helps give a background and a little bit refined flavor to the stock. It's kind of similar to when you're making pasta and you use a little white wine with like a seafood pasta. 200 more milliliters of water. And we're really gonna layer some more flavor here. This is dried kelp or dashima. I've got about 20 grams here. That's all going in, and we're gonna remove it after about 5 more minutes. So let's bring this up to a boil, and then we'll reduce it down to a simmer. This next ingredient is very important today. This is the Korean radish, mu. Also, very much in season in the winter in Korea. I need about 200 grams of this. So we'll go in right about there. Now, this is a very important ingredient for flavor, for texture as well, but also for health. I mean, this thing is really good for you, especially after it's been in a stock for a while. It just imparts a lot of good vitamins and minerals for your liver, for digestion. Now I'm cutting this fairly thin because we want it to cook pretty quickly too. Next, we've got to get just 3 cloves of garlic minced up. Good deal. All right, it has been about 10 minutes, so perfect timing. I can go in with these ingredients, but first I want to take that kelp out, that dried kelp or dashima. So 200 grams now of our sliced Korean radish. And our 3 cloves of minced garlic. Now that it's starting to boil, let's cover it and reduce it down to a simmer again. All right, it's almost time to add in these 2 more ingredients here. We're gonna do about 100 grams of tofu. So I'm gonna cut these into kind of bite-sized pieces. All right, and then just about 1/3 of a Korean leek. Let's go about there. So I'm cutting these down the middle. And then I'm gonna flip them over flat so they sit on the board better. And then I just wanna take them down into these little thin pieces. Okay. Now, why are these in little thin pieces? Because it's one of the last things we're adding here. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. We're gonna go in with our Korean leeks and 100 grams of tofu. Okay. Oh, it's really starting to come together now. We're gonna let this go for just about 5 minutes, and we're almost done. That's come back up to a boil, so let's get our 50 grams of soybean sprouts in here. These are so good for your liver, just like the hwangtae is and the radish. This whole soup is really pretty good for hangovers too. Soybeans, when you're cooking them in Korea, you cannot be covering them and uncovering them. You have to either choose lid off or lid on, or else they say you're gonna have an unpleasant aroma from those soybean sprouts. So I'm going lid off today. Okay, it has been 5 minutes. Let's turn off the heat. Now, if you remember, we haven't added any salt to this whatsoever. So at this point in time, I'd like to add a little bit of fish sauce. You could use soy sauce. Some folks like to use fermented shrimp sauce. I'm going in with 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. Yeah, okay. If I didn't like that, I would probably go in with a little bit of salt, but I'm very happy with the salinity that it's at right now. It is traditional that this be served boiling hot, all right? Oh. Just a few red and green chilies here to finish. And there you go, Hwangtaetang. Get a nice bite with some of that dried pollock. Wow, so heartwarming. The pollock almost becomes fluffy. You know, you can definitely taste, you know, you've got a protein there, but it's not like any fish you've ever had before. The texture and the flavor now that it's been dried for so long. Really, all these flavors have gone into that broth. The broth is the real magic. The broth is what makes you feel warm on this cold winter day.